Hi, Flower. I think that you did a very great job with your perspective, kind of about the chapter this week. It is a lot different than the teaching field. I think we probably had a little bit more to talk about just because um, the teaching field has transformed so much throughout all of these decades that they were talking about. Um, but I'm just going to kind of go through and kind of bullet the main points that I thought you did a great job covering. Just like we did, you started from at World War II and then looked at the theories of communication. And I really liked your diagrams that you used, and you were talking about how they were starting to looking at the sender and the receiver and the medium or channel through which the communication is received. Um, so you kind of talked about in dietetics, that was kind of an old school tradition where it was mostly focused on the dietitian and them just giving out all the information and hoping that the receiver could kind of absorb that information. But you kind of talked about how the more upcoming trend in the dietetics field is to really look at your patients and their preferences. You know, not everyone is an auditory learner and they can't just absorb all that information and take it. Some are more visual learners, so giving them that paper copy of their dietetics plan or whatever. I don't really know what you do, but just looking at your patients carefully, getting to know them and their preferences, so it's not just like you said that vomit of information and they can't absorb everything at once. Um, and then you kind of went into talking about the trend of the media in communication. And this is just kind of like an overall, everyone sees this, but that computers and other digital technology, they have the greatest impact on pretty much all professions. Once again, you had a great diagram, and you kind of talked about how, a new popular trend will come in, it may not work or it has some flaws, and then it'll fade, and then something new comes in, a new medium is introduced. I think that is true. Especially with teaching, those traditional teaching methods were used back in the day. They, new researchers came in, decided, oh, these probably aren't the best, or they aren't working the way that we want them to. They fade, and then something new comes in. And, now we're the more hands-on approach and that sort of thing. So definitely there's a popular trend and it cycles through. It's definitely a cycle. Um, then you talked about how, throughout all the decades that we talked about in this chapter, dietetics was kind of a new field. It was just getting its footing. So, it is kind of hard for you guys to plan and design those plans. Um, and definitely you can make improvements upon that. And then you can use the media to really elaborate on your plans and get them out to your community and that sort of thing. So I think you did a great job. It's definitely a different look than from the teaching perspective. So I appreciate learning from you as well. So I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next week.